Hello you guys, welcome to the Furchess Shop. My name is Mark Furchess, and today I want to show you how to pack a bicycle up to go on a bike tour. I just recently got back from a bicycle tour. I traveled from Washington D.C. to Astoria, Oregon on the Lewis and Clark Trail. It was a 5,000 mile journey over 3 months, and this is the setup I used. So, this is my ride. I hope you get some information from this video, apply it to your bicycle tour. God bless you guys, God be with you guys. Stay tuned. Alright you guys, this is my bicycle setup. It's a 29-inch Surly ECR. It's got the 29-inch mountain bike tires, 2.1 and 2.4 by 29. I've got two Rock Bros panniers on the back. I've got an ROS saddle bag on the front, a handlebar bag on the handlebars, and I've got a Brooks B17 saddle, a Salsa headset with Jones handlebars. I've got 3 mounts for 3 water bottles, and it's also a 20-speed bike. There's 2 chain rings on the front and a 10 chain ring cassette on the back with the standard chain. I've got a tarp set up as well that's on the back of the bike, and I've got gear stored in it as well. But that's pretty much the basics of the bike, and let's get to it. We'll jump into some of these bags just to show you what I carry along the journey. Okay you guys, we'll go ahead and start with the brown tarp on top of the panniers on the back. So on top of the tarp I actually have some things strapped to the top. I've got a tripod, so that's what this is. This is a tripod right here that I use to take pictures with and everything like that. This is something that you probably don't need to bring unless you're a photographer. But I do take a tripod with me, and I'll be honest with you, I use this tripod about every day along the whole journey taking pictures. So for me it was necessary to bring because I love to take photos. But anyways, I got a tripod. I've got your standard cable bicycle lock, combination bicycle lock. Every time you go somewhere, I like to lock my bike up. You never know who might just ride off with it, you know. So I took a bike lock, and I got basically to strap this bag on to the back of the bike. All I used was 2 bungees, so it's very easy to take on and off. I just come around here, unstrap it on both sides, and now I can take the brown tarp off, and that's all that's holding the brown tarp on. Just two bungees and gravity. But also on the back I have my my bow saw, or you can call it a bow saw, bucksaw, I guess. It'd be a homemade bucksaw, self-tightening bucksaw, or you just use this to tighten it up. And I use this fairly frequently to cut firewood at my campsites. I would suggest bringing maybe either a saw like this or a collapsible saw, just for convenience in cutting firewood. So now that I got those bungees off, this guy right here comes right off. So now let's go into the tarp and let's see what I got. Alright, so I'll go ahead and open this tarp up. I just got it kind of cinched up with some bank line. I think it's the number 36 bank line you can get from Amazon or other places. It's a good small rope to bring with you. So that's how I tighten this up. Let me take it apart. So I just did some basic knots and some bowline knots as well to tighten it up. So it comes off like this. Unstrap it. Let's see here. Just made sure that it was really taut because I didn't want my gear to fall out. So this just comes off. That's what's holding it all together. And open up the tarp. Okay, so the tarp served as a bag to carry all this stuff, and it also serves as a ground mat for my tent. So I started the journey. I was actually using the tarp as a lean-to shelter. I had some rope and made a ridge line with the rope and then just staked off the tarp. But as I was going further west, I was having a problem with dew in the mornings. So I'd wake up and I'd be soaking wet, or not quite soaking, but I'd be wet and cold. So I was like, I got to do something besides have the lean-to shelter and just sleep on my mat on the ground. So I kind of caved in, went to Walmart, and I bought a tent. And this is the tent I bought. It's an awesome tent. It was like 30 bucks. And it's a one-person backpacking tent made by Ozark Trail. And very easy to set up and take down. It comes with a rain fly, and that's what I use. So I've got my hatchet in the tarp, and this comes in handy also for cutting branches, or also I use it as a hammer to hammer my stakes into the ground, and could be a weapon as well. You can use this as self-defense. This was my self-defense at night. I always had it right by my side when I slept. If someone would have came up to me and tried to rob me or something, I probably would have used this to attack. Next step is a ground mat. This is a ground mat. You just it just unfolds. I'll take this off and it unfolds into a sleeping mat. I got this at St. Vincent de Paul. I just found it at a flea market or a thrift store, St. Vincent de Paul, and it's a great ground mat. So it's a Thermarest Z-Lite. Thermarest Z-Lite is the make of it. This right here, this pump was crucial. It's a pump for, you know, your tires or whatever, your tubes. But I use this all the time because I probably got, along this trip, I probably got about 20 flats. And that's not even exaggerating. I probably did get about 20 flats. And the larger pump helps. It helps, it pumps your tires up way quicker than the other pumps that attach to your frame, the small pumps. It's kind of inconvenient to me, and you can't get as much pressure in the tire as you can with an actual pump like this, a full-size pump. And then the last thing in the tarp was my sleeping bag. I just wrapped it up with some bank line, and it stayed in the tarp until I found a campsite at night. So anyways, you guys, that's all for the tarp. Let's go for the next item on the bike. This is the rear pannier on the right side. These things are really convenient. These saddlebags are similar to Ortlieb, which is a German-made pannier, but they're quite a bit cheaper. I think they're about half price. But they're not the best, but they did hold up, and they did the job. So I would recommend them for a tour of 3 months, or even a little bit longer. I think they'll last if you just don't handle them too harshly, because they do have a plastic clip that clips onto the rack, and that's the one part that I thought was the weakest link of the bag, and I could see it breaking pretty easily if you're not careful. So anyways, let's open this bag up and see what we got in here. It just has a clip on the front. You just unclip that, and then 2 clips on the side. Unclip those, and then this part that keeps it sealed from water, you just kind of unfold it, and then you can get in your bag. So let's see, in this bag I've got my foldable collapsible pillow. It's Tempur-Pedic, I think, or you call it memory foam maybe, is what it is. It's very comfortable, and I just slept on this at night. Now it's in this bag. Also in this bag is my collapsible rain jacket. If it ever started raining on me, which I was blessed on this last trip, it only rained on me a couple times in a 3-month time span, which is kind of phenomenal to me. But I did use it when it did rain. And also it's a good windbreaker for when there's a headwind. Keep you a little bit warmer, especially with all that wind blowing against you. Yes, it's Ozark Trail. You can see right there, Ozark Trail is the one that makes this jacket, and you can get them at Walmart for a pretty good price. Okay, also in this bag is all my clothes and toiletries, and I'll pull it out. Alright, so this is all my clothes and toiletries that I took on the journey. We'll open this up and I'll show you what I brought. Alright, so in my toiletry bag, let's open it up. I carried a can of Barbasol shaving cream. I had a Gillette razor to shave. I carried some soap and shampoo if I ever had to wash in the river. I got my toothbrush and toothpaste. I have some tape, waterproof adhesive tape, with this mupirocin ointment for cuts and infections. So thank God I never had to use this really. I never got cut, or I didn't really have an infection. I had some mosquito bites, but that's about it. I carry fingernail clips or toenail clips, thing of dental floss, a few clothespins to dry out clothes if I ever got sweaty during the day and I could hang them up on some rope. Something critical for nighttime, flashlight, always good to carry in your toiletry bag. If you got to use the restroom at night, brush your teeth, whatever. So I have one in my toiletry bag just to keep and for convenience. And that's all that's in my toiletry bag. Alright, so let's move on to the next. Alright, so this is all the clothes I would take on the journey. And it's so big right now because one pair of clothing, a shirt, shorts, underwear, padded bicycle shorts, and socks, I'd be wearing. So it's actually a lot smaller than this because this is actually all the clothes that I took and the clothes that I wore. Alright, so in this bag I had 2 pairs of socks. And these can be any kind of socks. I used the socks that go up your calf a little ways just to keep me warmer at nighttime. So that's these are Realtree. Not sure what brand this is. I think this is Hurley maybe. Or these are Under Armour. Under Armour's pair and a pair of Realtree. Really comfortable and a lot of insulation for your feet when it's cold outside. So 2 pairs of socks. Alright, I carried 2 pair of these nylon shorts with elastic waistband. And it's actually 2 layers. It has an outside layer and then another inside layer that's tighter. So I carried 2 of those. I had one of these on at all times. 1 pair, and here's the other pair. Same type of short. I carried thermal leggings and a thermal top. And I'd wear this if it ever got cold, which I did wear them quite a bit as I approached the Montana, Idaho, and in Washington area when I was going over the mountains. So this is thermal leggings. I don't know, it's kind of long to see, but let's see here. They're Realtree thermal leggings. I just had 1 pair of these. I didn't think I needed 2 pairs. And it didn't really ever get that cold, so I was blessed. Here is the thermal top. And that's by Hurley. Alright, I carried 2 pairs of padded bicycle shorts. These are Jimalaka. It's the name brand. This any padded bicycle short will do. You're going to really need these. That's one of the hardest parts of the trip, especially at the start of the trip, is getting your butt used to being in the saddle. Your butt gets really sore, and these padded bicycle shorts really help out tremendously. And keep your butt from really getting what's known as saddle sores, because you can get them if you've never rode that much. You'll have a big pus bubble in your groin, and trust me, it's painful. I've had one. So these are a must. You got to have some bicycle shorts. I took 2 pairs of jockey elastic boxers that really good, grip your legs really well. They don't like sag or they don't give you a wedgie because they're elastic and they kind of really get tight around your legs. So I took 2 pairs of these. Here's the other pair, 2 jockeys. And then I took 3 button-up shirts. And I wore, these are rain resistant. They're made by Habit. Or two of them are made by Habit, I believe. One of them's made by Wrangler. But any kind of, like, it's almost like a fishing shirt. Someone you'd see a fly fisherman wearing, because it really they dry really quick and they're lightweight, super lightweight. So I'd highly recommend getting this. This is a Habit. Let's see if it says anything else about it. I don't see a tag anywhere, but made by Habit. Button-up fisherman shirt is what I'd call it. So I got 3 of those. And this is the same one, just a different color than the other one. This is a Habit button-up fisherman shirt. And this one right here is a little thicker. This is cotton material, I believe. It's a button-up shirt. Wrangler makes this shirt. And it's the same shirt that I'm wearing right now doing the video, except it's a different color. So those are the shirts that I took along the ride. And the last thing I carried in the bag was a hand towel. And this is really important to have if you ever go for a swim, or if you wash up in a creek or something, or if you get sweaty, it's good to have a hand towel to dry yourself off. It's just a small little towel. It's not a full-size towel. It's probably about 2 foot by, I don't know, 2 foot by 15 inches maybe. Small hand towel. But I would highly recommend taking one. Alright, you guys. The next thing we'll go through is the other pannier on the other side of the bike, the left side. It's another Rock Bros pannier. It's really convenient. It's got these elastic straps that you can put dirty clothes here. Instead of throwing them in your bag and making your bag all smelly, you can put them on the outside and tighten the elastic strap on them. So it comes in handy whenever you get soaking wet with sweat and you want to just take that clothes off and either dry it out or keep it here before you can hang it up on a clothesline. Again, let's open this guy up. Got a clip there, and a clip there. Simple enough. You unroll it. And the first thing I have in this bag is my dirty clothes bag. I would mostly use this for dirty clothes. Also, I use it to put my gadgets in here. If it ever started raining, I'd put gadgets in here to keep them dry. But it's a dry bag made by Gecko Brands. I got it from Academy Sports at a good price. And I use several of these Gecko bags, as you'll see, on my journey. The next thing is my maintenance and toolkit bag. Carried all kinds of stuff in here. We'll open it up and show you what I got. And this is made by Duro Sport. This is the Duro Sport 10 liter dry bag. That was in that rear pannier. Open it up, it has 2 clips that you just unclip, unroll the bag. And then, okay, here we go. First thing I had in here was my Army issued survival knife. And also had like a carborundum stone to sharpen it with. And it fits into this really conveniently. This is a good knife. This was my dad's knife when he was in Special Forces in the Army. And I love it. It's my favorite knife. And yeah, I'm just blessed to have it. Really thankful to have it. And it comes in handy for all kinds of stuff. So you need a good survival knife. Alright, that's that first thing in there. Next thing, let's see what we got in here. This is an old Crown Royal bag. And this is what I put some of my bicycle stuff in. Bicycle maintenance tools like this. In this bag I had 2-in-1 bike chain care. It's almost empty. I used the whole container on the trip. Let's pour this out and see what we got in here. Alright, next thing I have in here is, I think these are Q-tips for cleaning the chain. I had Q-tips for cleaning the chain. So I kept quite a bit of Q-tips on me. And cleaning other parts of the bike. I had an emergency tire boot for a tire that failed or had a slash in it, just in case. Another tire boot that you can use just in case something punctures your tire. And here's some more. I carried quite a few of them just in case. It's always good. I mean, they're so lightweight, it's easy to carry. And here's some small patches that you can use also for your tire, or probably, I'm not sure, you could probably use this as a tube as well, patch the tube. I'm thinking these could be used to patch a hole in a tube. In this Altoids can, I carried some master links for the chain. If your chain ever broke, you could put some master links in it. Or if you get a new chain, your chain breaks, and you get a new chain, and you can connect the chain with these master links. So I carried 4 of them on me. 4 because they're just so light and easy to carry. And some more tire boots. And that was all that was in this bag. Alright, next bag. Okay, this bag right here was my toolkit bag. This had all my bicycle tools in it. Just pour it out and I'll go through it. Alright, so first things first, this was a cassette removal tool, which I did replace the cassette. And I used this, believe it or not. My cassette got so worn on the trip that it started skipping bad, so I bought a new rear cassette. And this right here, this tool takes off the cassette. And you mount the new cassette with this tool. So I'm glad I brought it, or else I'd have had to pay a bike shop to fix it, and sometimes they charge an arm and a leg to do it. This is my multi-tool. Has all kinds of stuff on here. Screwdrivers, Allen key set. It has a chain breaker tool. That's pretty much what it has. All that. That's a lot of stuff, and it's useful. All kinds of Allen keys. Allen keys, Phillips head, flathead, and a chain breaker tool. So that's what's on my multi-tool kit, or multi-tool. I brought a separate chain breaker tool because the one over here on this one has been used so much it doesn't necessarily work like it should all the time. I brought an additional one, and this is the one I used whenever I had to replace my chain. Get a shot of that. This one, this is a Park tool. Park tool makes this. Right here, this is my patch kit. So in the patch kit, I had sandpaper, patches, and here is rubber cement that you put on the tube. You let it dry, then you put it on the back of the patch, let it dry, and then you push the two together and hold them for like 5 minutes. If you hold it for 5 minutes solid, they usually work. If you don't hold it long enough, the patch will likely fail. But anyways, that's what I learned from doing this so much. These are vital. You get flats all the time. The patch kit's vital, and these are the tire irons to remove the tire from the rim. You need these. Get them from Park Tool. Find them. I would suggest getting metal ones that are blunted at the end, like these are, instead of getting the plastic ones. The plastic ones are just too flimsy. So I'd recommend getting metal ones. Here's some extra parts that I had. I had 2 caps for tubes. I had a ferrule end cap for a cable, which I did replace a cable as well on the trip. And then a couple of these nuts that screw onto the tube, just extras. So there's 2 little small nuts that screw onto the stem of the tube to hold it onto the rim. And last but not least in this bag was my spoke wrench tool. This tightens and loosens your spoke. It's made by Park Tool. And you need this if your spokes break to replace a spoke, or if your tire gets out of true and you got to true your tire or your wheel. This is what you need, a spoke wrench. So I didn't use this the whole time, believe it or not. I never did break a spoke. My wheel stayed true the whole time. But I think you need it. You need it just in case. That's all in that bag. The next bag has various stuff in it, so let's go through it. First, it has a fire starting kit. This is right here, I believe this is char cloth. Okay, so it was char cloth at one time, and it has my magnifying glass. So this is actually a fire starter tool. You can use it to channel sunlight onto char cloth. And then it catches fire, and then you can put tinder to it, and then you'll have a good fire going. Tinder, and then put some kindling on the tinder, and then put your fuel on it. You'll get a fire going with this instead of having a lighter. You have this. This comes in handy. This was char cloth, but as you can see, it turned to powder. It turned to dust on the road. So on a bike tour, this was a fail for me. I would probably not take the char cloth. I would take the magnifying glass to start a fire, but the char cloth, it failed. I can't use this really to start a fire. Or I might be able to, but I don't know. Usually the char cloth works better than this stuff. So I would say don't take it, but do bring the magnifying glass. Another fire starting kit. Got a lighter, got a razor, and I got needles. These are needles for sewing your sleeping bag, your shirts, your clothes, whatever things have rips. That's a good little kit to have. This is my, and that kit fits into this kit, this is my ferrocerium rod. And you take that survival knife, and you can start a fire with those sparks. Especially if you have char cloth. It'll spark, and you can start a good fire with it. So I would recommend taking that in addition to the lighter. You're probably going to use the lighter most often than not, but you never know. You might be forced to use that in some situations. So take it just in case, or just bring some extra lighters. If you don't want to take all this stuff, just bring a few lighters with you and you should be okay. Next thing in this container, I've got more needles. I've got more needles right here. And I've got thread to use to sew my clothes together if they rip, the tent, the ground mat, whatever. I have needles in order to fix things up. Here's some needles that's falling out. I don't know why I brought so many needles. You probably don't need to bring this many needles, but I bought this pack, and this pack came with all kinds of needles, so I just ended up taking them all. I brought a nail. You never know what you can use a nail for. What I would use it for is I would nail it to a tree and use it as a hanger. You can hang your clothes off of it. You can hang your hat on it. You know, whatever you want to hang up, you can hang up. So that comes in handy for that. Another needle. And I carried a couple of safety pins, and I used it to attach my flag to my pannier, my American flag, and you can use it for whatever. You can find different uses for it. Took 2 of those, and an extra lighter in this bag, and that's all that's in that bag. All right, next thing in this bag is my first aid kit. This is my first aid kit, and you can take different kinds of stuff in your kit. Let's see what I brought. I didn't really use it that much. I never got injured, thank the Lord, but I did bring things for first aid. So first is some tape. This is alien tape, and this would come in handy for all kinds of stuff. Bandages. This actually would come in handy, to be honest with you, as a tire boot. You could use this as a tire boot, or possibly even as a patch for your tube. So this stuff would come in handy. I never used it. Muscle rub, I did use this. Especially at the start of the journey, your calves and your thighs, your quadriceps, and the hamstrings are going to get sore, and your butt. And this muscle rub helps. So definitely bring some muscle rub, especially for the start of your tour, if you haven't really been training too much to go on a bike tour. This stuff comes in handy. It's a topical analgesic. It's called Skeeter. And this just keeps you from itching so much when you get bit by a skeeter or any other kind of biting fly. Cotton swab as a bandage, cotton bandage that you can use. I thank the Lord I didn't have to use it. Pair of tweezers. I did use these to pull out thorns from my tires and stuff like that. And also, I think I might have got a splinter or something. It'd be good to take splinters out with, whatever. Eye drops, you need these as you go, especially if it's windy outside and you're not wearing sunglasses. Your eyes are going to get really dry. And also as you go, big trucks pass by that have dirt on them and stuff. And as they pass by, some of that stuff flies into your eyes, or a bug might fly into your eyes. There's all kinds of things that can happen to your eyes as you're out on the road, and you need some eye drops to treat your eyes. Okay, tissue paper. This is good. I use this quite a bit. You got to go number 2, and there's no bathroom around. You'd be very thankful to have toilet paper on you. This isn't all I carried. I'll show you. My other panniers have some more toilet paper in it, and I actually did have to use it out in the woods, digging my own little trench, like a latrine, in order to use the bathroom. And then the last thing here is this rosebud salve, which is kind of like a muscle rub as well. Works for chapped skin, blemishes, detergent, and for diaper rash. Probably good for cuts and burns as well. So anyways, that's called rosebud salve. That's all that's in this bag. Alright, the next thing in this bag is a pair of channel lock pliers. They're a small pair, probably about 6 inches long. And I actually did use this for a couple things. I fixed my camera with it. I tightened some bolts with it. I tightened my rear cassette with this. You need it. You need a pair of channel locks or some kind of pliers with you, I believe, if you're going to go on a long distance trip. And this came in handy. I actually, like I said, I repaired my rear cassette, and without that I wouldn't have been able to keep going. So these did come in handy. I used them quite a few times. They're cheap. I got them from, I think, Lowe's. Vice Grip makes them, or no, I'm sorry, Irwin makes them, and they're Vice Grip channel locks. And the last thing in this bag is some bank line. Bank line, you can use this to as a clothesline. You can use it as a ridge line. You can use it to hang other stuff up. I used it to wrap my tarp up with all the gear in the back, as you saw earlier. I used it for that, but it comes in handy. So I probably brought, I don't know, maybe 30 to 50 feet of it. So it will come in handy, and you will use it. And that's all that's in this Dura Sport 10-liter dry bag. In this bag, I also had 2 to 3 29-inch tubes. And these are crucial unless you have put slime in your tubes. If you don't have the slime, little thorns can cause you to have flats. This little smallest thorn can cause you to have a flat. You got to take your tire off, unload all your gear, find the flat, put a patch on it. Sometimes the patch doesn't hold. Then when you get it all together, then you can keep going. But sometimes, like I said, those patches don't hold. You need a new tube. This will keep you from getting stranded somewhere out in the wilderness. I would highly recommend carrying at least 2 to 3 spare tubes. Right now I got 2 tubes in here, and it's because I used one recently on the end of the trip. But I had about, like I said, 20 flats or so along the trip. And I patched most of them. Some of the tires or tubes had 3 to 4 patches. But when the patch fails, you need a tube. So the last thing in this bag is my film container. I had an old Scotch whiskey container, and I filled it with 120 film and 35 millimeter film. So that was something extra that you don't have to carry if you're not a photographer, but I did bring it, and this is where I kept all my the film that was unexposed. And whenever I exposed the film, I'd put it back in this container or mail it back home. So that's what's in this, and that's all that's in this rear pannier. Okay, let's transition and look at what's in the left side saddlebag. ROS is all it says. I'm not sure where I got this saddlebag, but it worked, and it held up for the whole trip. So if you find it, ROS saddlebag, panniers, I would recommend it for a tour of 3 months or so. And like I said, it held up, and it's not waterproof, but it kept my stuff dry for the most part. So the first thing I have in here is my camera stuff. These are my cameras, 2 cameras that I brought. And the next thing in this bag is a dry bag filled with my gadgets. So let's go through these 2 bags and I'll show you what's in there. So the first thing that was in that saddle bag was my cameras. And again, this is optional to carry. This is just something extra that I like to carry to take pictures. I would take pictures with these 2 cameras and my cell phone. And these 2 cameras are film cameras. like I showed you before, I brought a bunch of film on the road and shot a bunch of film as I went across the country. The first camera is a Holga 120 pinhole camera. It shoots 120 film, and you have to put it on a tripod and pull back this piece of tape right here, and then there's a pinhole, and the light goes through the pinhole and exposes the film. So I took this camera, and also took my 35mm Canon AE1 program. This is an old 35mm film camera, and I love how it shoots. I've had it for several years now. And I brought only one lens, and that was the 50mm lens. And I usually just kept it mounted the whole time. So you just pull that cap off, pull this cap off, and line up the red dots, and screw it on. And then that's what I use, was this 50mm lens on the Canon 35mm camera. So those are the two cameras I took, lens caps. Another bag I had was a Gecko dry bag, a little bit smaller than the green one that I use for dirty clothes. This was the bag I used for my gadgets, cords, journal, and Bible. So let's open it up, and that's pretty much what I have in here. I think so I've got all kinds of cords for the gadgets I have. The gadgets would range, I'll show you what gadgets I have. This is an iPhone cord and receptacle adapter, USB receptacle adapter. I've got another USB receptacle adapter for these other cords. I brought a New Testament Bible with Proverbs and Psalms as well that I used along the trip and read. One of my gadgets is a headlight. It's still charged up, but I use this every night at camp. Just put it on. It's really convenient instead of carrying around a flashlight. Have it on your head. And here's these guys. These are my battery charging gadgets. I got two of these Anchor chargers, which will charge up your iPhone about twice. So it's good for 2 charges. When this is fully charged, it'll charge your iPhone up twice. So I got 2 of those. And I got another one that has enough power to charge up your iPhone once. So at any given point in time when I had these charged up, I could charge up my phone 5 times. And I never had a problem with my phone being dead. I always had it charged up, and I always found places to charge these guys up, like at fast food joints or wherever I was at. So my phone never died, and I always had GPS available to me. So that's that kit. And then the last thing I got in here is my journal. I took a journal along the way and did a lot of writing. I'm going to work on a blog and take the pictures that I shot and make a blog online using Blogger. That's blogger.com. And also I got a couple pens to write with. Just ballpoint pens. And that's what's in that dry bag. Alright, that's all that's in this side of the pannier. There's also a container, or not a container, but a pouch right here. And in this pouch, I carried bug spray. You gotta have bug spray. Especially in the summertime, mosquitoes are bad. So I took some bug spray with me. And I used this is the second can. I used the whole can and then bought another can of it. Also in this bag is 2 rolls of toilet paper. Like I said, this stuff is invaluable right here. You need toilet paper on the trip. You're gonna have to go sooner or later, and you're not gonna be near a bathroom. So the toilet paper comes in handy, or else you're gonna be wiping your butt with leaves or something like that you find in the woods. And that's not good. That could cause a rash, get an infection, and it really doesn't work. So bring some toilet paper. The next thing in here, let's see what we got. I've got zip ties. These zip ties came in handy. I used them a few times. I used the zip ties to tie these extra spokes onto the bike. I use zip ties for that, so I carried extra spokes on my bike. Also, some of the zip ties holding these cables onto the bike broke, and I use these zip ties to fix those. All right, and the last thing in this bag is my harmonica. So if you're ever by yourself at night in the wilderness, it's always good to, well, it's just fun to have a harmonica with you to jam out a little bit around a campfire or underneath the stars. So I brought a G harmonica. This is a Big River harp. Hohner makes it, made in Germany. Okay, we'll go to the right side of the saddlebag. And on this side of the bag, first thing that I carried was some sunscreen. You're gonna need sunscreen in the summer when you're riding, or else you're gonna get burned up. So I carried some sunscreen with me for the duration of the trip and used it daily. In this pouch, the first thing I had was my pot. It's a Stanley pot. It has a nice unique handle here that you can hold on to, put it on the fire, and then pull it off the fire or near the fire without getting too burnt. I would still wear a glove or something if you're doing that, because sometimes this can heat up, but it just won't heat up as much as the pot. It has a lid with holes for steam to come out of. In here I've got my utensils. I've got a spoon, fork, and knife combo. Also, it has a bottle opener, which I used when I got Cokes from the convenience store, or those Doritos flavored beverages. So this came in handy. I was using this daily. It's a great tool to have, a multi-utensil. Also in here I have a can opener, which I never had to use. Every can that I used or ate from usually just peeled off with like a tab. But you might run into a can that you need to have a can opener, so I suggest taking one just in case. This is just a small little can. It's not much weight. You just throw it in your kit. So that's the can opener I took. This pot has a nested cup that you can pour, you know, your food in, or you can pour coffee or tea in it. I never used it, and you can't cook with it because it's plastic, but it is an insulated cup, so you can put hot stuff in here without getting burnt. But still, nonetheless, it nests in here. Don't take up much space. It's not too heavy, so I went ahead and took it. And that's all that's in this kit. Also in this bag was another dry bag full of food. And right now I'm depleted on the food. I pretty much ate it all and I haven't restored my food supply since I'm done with the trip. But I would have anything from like pretzels, trail mix, jelly, peanut butter, beef sticks, beef jerky, oatmeal, candy, and that's about what I'd carry in this bag. And I'd usually carry a loaf of bread in here also to make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So that's what's in this bag, is mostly like my food bag and pot bag, where I have my pot. In this little pouch, let's see what's in here. I had, for cold weather, I had a face mask / hood that would go over my head and keep me cold in the wind as I went across the mountains. That's about the only time I used it, was going across the mountains. If you go at an earlier time in the year, just when late spring starts, early summer, you probably won't have to use this when crossing the mountains. Also, I had some buckskin gloves that I would use, like again, if it's cold outside, they at least keep my hands from freezing with all the wind and everything. So I carried these buckskin gloves with me during the cold weather. All right, the next thing in this pouch is this topical gel, diclofenac sodium. It's used, I used it for muscle rub, like an anti-inflammatory pain reliever type gel. And for my joints, I rub it on the skin around my joints if they were sore. And that's what I use this for. I used it quite a bit at the start of the trip when I was just getting used to riding. Another thing I have in here, this is an emergency blanket that was given to me by a scout leader named Mr. Steve the first day of the trip. Never did have to use it, but it's always good to have just in case. And then the last thing in here is I took a couple extra Ziploc bags. Just in case I had food or something that I needed to store or anything else, I carried just a couple Ziploc bags extra. That's all that was in this pouch. I have maps in my bag right here for going long distance. On tours, I got maps, adventure cycling maps that show me the route I'm taking, and if I want to deviate from that route, I can with my GPS that I'll put my iPhone here and have a GPS working as I'm riding. Also got a headlight if I do find myself riding at nighttime. This is convenient to be able to see where you're going. So first things first, let's open up this. I got 2 maps in here. These are the last 2 maps I used on the tour. This is the Lewis and Clark Bicycle Trail, and these maps are made by Adventure Cycling Association. You can find them online at adventurecycling.org, and they have all kinds of routes that go all the way across the country. I highly recommend checking them out. On these maps, there's all kinds of features. Let's see what it says. Route map and guide, bi-directional, services for cyclists, and it's on waterproof paper. So it shows you the route here from Hartford, Illinois, all the way to Seaside, Oregon, Astoria, Oregon area. This is a map I picked up in Montana, so that's in there too. Another map. This is Montana's official highway map. Other things that are in this bag is just another dry bag, and in this dry bag, I've got all my other maps stored in a Ziploc bag. I've got my passport just in case I decided to go to Mexico or Canada or some other country on the bike. Good to have this as a backup identification as well. And also I had iodine tablets and potable aqua P8 plus stabilizer, water purification. Use those whenever I ran out of water and got water from the river or the creek. I would either boil my water or put these tablets in it, and that's all that's in this dry bag. All right, in the last pouch, put this back in here. The last pouch is this zipper pouch right here, and I have an extra pin if I ever need to get quick access to a pin. Got some bear mace. Got a roll of Gorilla Tape that I'd use for various purposes. Put a roll of Gorilla Tape around some leather. Another lighter. Another lighter. Flashlight, just in case, for easy, convenient use. A couple things of chapstick for my lips. Another pen and a Sharpie. A little bit of change, and then another battery. I think this is the bad battery I had on my camera, but I saved it just in case. And that's all that's in the pouch. That's it. Alright guys, thank you for watching this video. This was my bicycle setup as I journeyed across the US on the Lewis and Clark Trail. There was probably some things that I could have left behind, like the Bucksaw and all the extra film that I took. But for the most part, the stuff that you saw in this video I used at one point or another, and it all came in handy. And I think it was worth it to take most of the stuff. So anyways, I hope you can glean some valuable information from this video and use it for your bicycle tour in the future. If you do have any questions or comments or input, please leave them down in the comment section of the video. I'll be happy to look at it and address that and be glad to learn something from you as well. So thank you so much. God bless you guys. God be with you guys wherever you go. And take care until next time. God bless.